Kimberly Dvorak. Kimberly, for once, the name fits what it is. Choke Point is absolutely choking off funds from businesses, legitimate legal businesses in this country. It is, in my opinion, maybe the most insidious of all of the heaps of regulation that this administration has piled on this country. Maybe the most insidious is this one.
Yeah, thank you for having me here today. We've got Operation Choke Point. More and more details are starting to come out about it. Congress released a 7,500-page report on this, and contained in the report are memos and emails back and forth between banking officials and federal employees that, because they have pure hatred or they really don't like this particular business or that particular business, they decide to choke off funds via the banking industry. And if banks don't follow through with what the government is asking them to, then the federal government is threatening the actual banks with audits. And we all know how painful audits can be for banks or normal businesses going through the IRS.
It's intimidation, right?
Absolutely.
You control the banks, you control this country. This is exactly how the housing bubble was created, right? The banks were intimidated by the federal government to loan out this money to people who should not have been qualified to buy properties, but instead they were intimidated by the federal government, the banks were, to make the loans. The bubble inflated, and then it burst, and then the government blamed the banks. So here we go again. But this is a backdoor attack on specifically the Second Amendment, is it not?
Yes, it is. But let me go a step further here. This is similar. People are talking about this being similar to the Nixon enemies list, where specific people, I mean, we're looking at an administration where they don't even have to pass laws, and Congress doesn't, seem to hold, the executive branch accountable these days. But I think when you look at this, you've got a White House and their political arm saying, okay, we're going to dispatch what we really want to happen here, and through regulations, we'll make it happen. And people have to be concerned here, because this week it may be they're going after firearms manufacturers or ammunition dealers or payday loan companies and online gambling sources. They may be going after those folks today, but next week, what if it's maybe the auto industry, because they don't like cars that use gasoline or fossil fuels. So these are the types of things that these regulations and the damage they can have in the marketplace is staggering. And the fact that there are emails going back and forth saying that they absolutely think this is an immoral business, and they're telling PR companies to every time you mention a firearm manufacturer or an ammunition dealer that you need to mention the word terrorist, or if you're talking about payday loans, you have to talk about pornography. And they're actually going out and regulating on a personal moral high ground. They think personal moral high ground.
Right, and the FDIC has become akin to the IRS, the Obama IRS, I should say, and that is going after what they consider to be enemies. And in this case, they're going after, again, legal businesses that happen to produce firearms or legal businesses that happen to produce ammunition. And this really goes to the core of what this country is not about. This country is not about this intimidation, but it also goes to the core of what the problem is, in my opinion, is over-regulation. Why is the federal government even involved as heavily as it is in the banking industry? I mean, we had this Dodd-Frank behemoth, which controls the banking industry even more. It's the most controlled system of industry in the world. Everything they do is under a microscope because of the federal government.
Yeah, and actually you have a U.S. coalition, consumer coalition group out there, and they're the ones kind of taking the fight to Washington, D.C. on this, and they're getting their members together. And, we have Senator Warren, who put out the Consumer Protection Agency, and that was supposed to kind of protect consumers and such. Well, this kind of ties into it as well, where, apparently they're going to protect the population from businesses that they deem aren't businesses or do not want to have businesses. And again, it's just an end run around Congress. And you've got, one branch of the government here, the executive branch, completely overstepping, and you've got a whole group of people in Washington, D.C. that have learned the easier way to get things done is through the regulation.
Right.
And rather than going through Congress here is on top of this, and you've got Congressman Duffy that's going to be holding hearings in February on this, and they're going to get to the bottom of it. They've got the IG, the Inspector General, involved in this, and they're going to kind of begin outlining and putting out there what needs to be done, what kind of accountability, and whether Congress needs to write more specific laws than just very vague laws, because when you have vague laws, this type of situation is allowed to occur. And again, I just think it's important for everyone to remember that this week it is these types of businesses that the federal government is going after. Next week, what is it going to be? The Catholic Church, the fossil fuel industry?
It could be you. They could be going after you, specifically because of your free speech rights. Yeah, it's much easier to bypass Congress, of course, but it's not constitutional. One of these days, Kimberly, years down the road, I think somebody's going to write a tell-all book about the Obama administration, and that thing is going to read like the Communist Manifesto. I guarantee it. Kimberly,
I think that they're actually they're writing that right now. They're reading from it right now.
Somebody is. They're going to pay a price, whoever writes it. Kimberly, thanks.
Thank you.